Well, good day, everybody. This is Doug, the Modeling Hermit, and we are back onto the, I believe it said 1978 Plymouth Horizon TC3 that I've been making into, I don't know what I'm making it into, kind of, a late entry into the gasser territory. I think they kind of went out in the early 70s. It was kind of the last of the gassers, and I was kind of aiming this at that. Um, I've changed a little bit now. I've lowered the front end quite a bit on this. I've been playing around with the front end suspension plans before, and I had this real high, and which real kind of looked ridiculous. So anyway, pardon my finger out of the way there. So anyway, I have lowered that front end quite a bit. I've also changed out which tires. I'm going to use the stock tires and wheels. I've got some hubcaps, just the moon type hubcaps that I'm going to use on that, big flat moons. I'm going to use that front and rear. So the tires and wheels, I think I've got pretty well set as to what I'm going to have. I kind of like the stance. I've got to open up that wheel well a little bit. I've got the wheels set to the front of the wheel well because one of the things I'm trying to do, if I can get the engines to work the way I want it to, is I want to bring my exhaust out right behind the wheel. So I wanted that moved to ahead just slightly. I also got to do a little bit of work on the wheel arches around the back wheel, so you can see that's kind of touching there. I'm going to give some clearance there. Let's see. So anyway, that's my straight axle I've got in it now. That's how far I've gotten with that. My engine choices, I had Chrysler, blown Chrysler I was looking at. I decided that's overkill. I have a DeSoto from the 1953 Ford pickup kit. That's a possibility. It's given me some trouble on the transmission, but I mean, we're modelers. We know how to use a cutting knife. The other thing that I got is I've got this from the 63 Nova station wagon is the Chrysler Firepower engine with it. That has a little bit different transmission setup there that I think I can actually maneuver that better into this. So I've got some ideas. I've got a couple other engines I could use, but they're not Chrysler product. I'm trying to keep this all Chrysler product as much as I can. So at this point, it's down to basically engine choices before I can go much farther on it. I did do some work on the interior. I've got to dull coat that yet. I brush painted that with black, and then go, dummy, you could have just masked off the doors and just hit it with the spray can. But I thought about that after I had it all done. You know how that is. So anyway, that's I've got the big monster in the back there. That's my fuel cell that I'm improvising into it. I've got, where did my seat go for this thing? Oh, there it is, over there. So anyway, I've got a kind of a cool seat that's already painted up and everything. I'll probably just use it. And this car will be weathered a little bit, so I'm not too awful worried about how shiny things are and such. So with that, that's about all that I've accomplished so far today on this. I've been kind of giving everyday updates on it, just because it's kind of a fun thing that I'm doing and just kind of a weird way out there. And I was kind of go way out with it and go, no, rein it in, make it kind of realistic instead of just, a fun, silly project, playing back my, early years of modeling. Let's get serious about it. So maybe I just don't have the ambitions that I did as a kid to get funky. But I decided this in here, I kind of actually want to get a little more realistic with it. It's probably not going to actually match anything you're going to see at the drag races in the 70s, 80s, or now, but it's at least going to be on the more realistic side of things. So I decided not to cut the fender wells at this point. I haven't completely decided on that yet, because that is where the shock towers are at, but there would be no shock towers on this because of what I'm running on it here. So it would be a lot easier and probably more realistic if I cut out those fender wells and gave myself some room for some really cool exhaust on this thing. So watch for that. Let's see what happens with that over the next couple days here as I'm working on this to see what direction I go. I may actually cut the firewall too in order to get, I'd really like to use that DeSoto engine in this just because it's old DeSoto. I mean, that's really, let's face it, in the 70s it probably would not run a DeSoto engine. But it's just kind of the fun thing to do on this. Just, they'll open up the hood and there's a DeSoto in there. So right now we're just going to kind of wait and see on that. I've got a couple things I want to do first before I tackle that area. But that's my thoughts at this time, is to really try and make that DeSoto work. If I can't, I think that probably what I'm really realistically going to end up doing is the Chrysler Firepower. I think that's probably what I'm actually going to end up running in this. I've also got to do some roll bars, and roll bars always give me a pain in the neck because you got to get them, sized right, because you're working in the chassis, or the interior rather, over here, but you got to get it to match the top up there. So that's a lot of times a little bit of cut on it. So with that, I can't really think of anything else I'm working on at this point. Let's see, there's the hood up there. That's gonna probably, I had that all painted up for when I was gonna do stock, and then I probably gonna end up putting a hole in that for blower unit or something like that. Who knows what's gonna happen there. So keep watching, guys, gals, and let's just let's see what happens with this little rascal. I'm having fun with it. I hope you're having fun watching too. So this is Doug, the Modeling Hermit, and I am off the air, and anything else? I'm gone.